Welcome to the Movement PT Coffee Cast, where we sit down and talk about physical therapy, health, and whatever else comes to mind during our coffee-infused conversations. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Movement PT Coffee Cast. My name's Dalton, and with me, as always, is my beautifully bearded friend, William. William, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. I've had 2 coffees and no food.
Dude, I've had 2 coffees, not even 10 a.m. yet. It's amazing.
That's how it should be.
That's what Saturday mornings are about, bro.
That's how you know the PT Coffee Cast is ready to go.
Yeah, you guys are in for a treat today. But I want to comment, bro, on your sweater. It's dope. I know
thank you.
An audio platform, but Will is repping this Toronto Raptors sweater, and it is sick.
4 man gets paid, baby.
He used to get paid in Toronto, not anymore.
True, but yeah, shout out to my girlfriend Rose.
Shout out Rose. Also, I'm repping a nice shirt too. I got to give a shout out.
Pulse
Physiotherapy. Appreciate the shirt, guys. If you guys haven't listened to our episode with Connor Massimo, who's one of the owners of Pulse Physiotherapy, check it out. That was probably one of my favorite episodes. I would say it's up there for sure. Connor's a great guy, man. They're doing awesome things up in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada.
Totally, man.
Okay. Let's dive in. Actually, before we dive into the episode, let's do read our review. We got a lengthy one here from one of our boys and fellow classmates, Alex Kravich. Shout out, Alex. He said, Dalton and Will are 2 of my classmates who have an immense passion for our profession. They're on the road to change the course of how physiotherapists operate. This guy's expecting a lot out of us. The podcast is just one of the ways in which they're doing so, interviewing some of the most renowned clinicians all over the world and making it not only a learning experience for myself, but an enjoyable listen on commutes to work. I've learned a tremendous amount just from listening to their talks. I recommend checking them out for all physiotherapists, students, and anyone linked to the fitness and exercise world. Keep up the great work. He also hit us with that 5-star review. Alex, man, appreciate that. Those are some kind words. I mean, I hope we're having some impact on physiotherapy. I don't know if we're changing the course just yet. We haven't hit that big of a wave yet, but one day, maybe one day.
Well, hey, I'll take a shout out from the beast himself.
Yeah,
thanks, Alex.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone else who's reviewed our podcast. If you guys haven't done so, and you've gained some value from our podcast, please head over to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a review, drop us a comment like that. One, it helps us move up the charts on iTunes, which is important to reach more people. It also, it makes me smile, man. So that I want to see some more words, even if it's not kind words. I'll probably smile still too. So drop us a review. We'd really appreciate it. All right. You ready?
I think so.
All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about today? I'll let you kick it off, man.
Well, I don't know if we have maybe a few things we want to talk about, but I think we just sort of realized a big part of both of our lives is the strength and conditioning that we are both engaging in on a daily basis. And that not only weaves in our practice as physios, but it's just a big part of our life separately. And so we were hoping that we could kind of start talking a little bit more about just maybe what's going on through our minds in our own training, what some things we've been kind of picking up on and thinking about from that perspective. So if you're into training and you're into lifting weights and moving and getting stronger, then these are going to be some of the episodes for you.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Exercise and training has been something that I've been doing for a long time now. In the grand scheme of things, not that long, but since I was seriously started training probably towards maybe grade 10 or 11 of high school, with my two best friends to try to get as jacked as possible for football. But it kind of started out there, and it's funny to see the transformation of styles of training that I've gone through myself, my thoughts around training, and then also just the change in the fitness and training space over time, like the coming up of CrossFit and high intensity interval training and that kind of becoming mainstream. It's kind of interesting to see the shift. So I think it'll be kind of fun to talk about. And I know you also have had similar experiences and evolutions over the course of your training life to kind of what you're doing now. So I'll kick it off with a question for you. One, did you ever think that you would be powerlifting? And then two, maybe how did your training evolve over time? Because you also were a pretty high level baseball player. So I'm sure that's kind of shifted as you've gone through. So why don't you just touch on that a little bit? Sure.
So first of all, I never thought I was going to be a power lifter. That's for sure. I don't know. I didn't really know about it that much, to be honest, other than like maybe when you're younger, you see some guy bench pressing like 800 pounds and you're like, obviously I'll stop and watch that. But yeah, I used to be a varsity athlete and obviously trained at that point. But I think the biggest difference between then and now is the intent with the training, because the training that I do now for powerlifting is focused. My goal is the strength training. Whereas before, I just kind of trained in the hopes that it would somehow transfer over to being a better hitter in baseball, which I'm not sure it did. I was still excessively mediocre with hitting, but so that's the difference. Is like now the strength training is both my training and what I'm striving to improve. So I feel like that's the biggest kind of change that I've had maybe since I've started getting into powerlifting.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I can definitely see that's a big shift. And I think, does it make it it's more aligned now as to the training, right? Like your training is very specific. Whereas, I mean, baseball, obviously, and I think this is maybe for most athletes, is most athletes just want to play, bro. They don't really, they're not maybe so into the training and like enjoy it as much as maybe like people who are just training without having sport. So I think once you align like your training with like your purpose, that's just kind of like what you're doing with powerlifting, it might make it a little bit more enjoyable for you.
Yeah, I think that having the goal of the powerlifting meet is good for me because it's gotten me motivated to work hard every day in the gym. Like before it was easy because I wanted to be a better baseball player, right? And then once I kind of stopped playing baseball, it was like, what am I training for? And not that I don't care about my health and stuff like that, but I lost the motivation to get to the gym every day and work hard and at a high intensity.
Yeah, that kind of aligns with what I talked about a little bit on the Espresso Cast the other day. Is like trying to figure out that why behind what you're training for,
Yeah, for sure.
And that kind of helps. Like you're saying, get into the gym, be motivated, be focused, know why you're there instead of kind of wandering in there, doing a couple bicep curls like I used to, and then wandering out,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So for me, I would say my thing, like I'm not training for anything, let's say specific right now. So we're kind of on a different wave, but I would say I've gone through quite a journey in terms of like when I originally started training, it was like just kind of for fun because you're in high school, and then it was with regards to football and trying to be strong and powerful for that. And again, kind of training for a sport. And then once you finish, you're kind of like, well, I really enjoyed exercising. It's like, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? And then I kind of got into this transformation of just weight loss, because I was actually, like, believe it or not, like 260 pounds, bro, at one time. So I was like, I don't need to be 260 pounds just walking around here day to day. So I kind of went on this like weight loss, journey. And it wasn't anything like crazy, right? Like I just ate better. It was more nutrition based, and I did a little bit more higher intensity conditioning workouts that kind of helped me transform, which is powerful. And we can talk about that maybe a little bit later about why exercise is so important to both of us, I think. But just to continue on with like my transition, I kind of went into CrossFit. I found like everyone, it's like I found CrossFit, and I was introduced to CrossFit, and so I started going to a CrossFit gym, and loved it. Like, I love the style of training. I love the community. I love that it was like new and different, like every time you would go. But that kind of led me, again, I was still in like this competitive mindset. It kind of led me down like a road to like some injuries, which is normal. Like, that's life. And then you kind of transition into another stage, which I would say where I'm at now is like, one, I'm still trying to rehab like an old injury, not necessarily related to CrossFit, but something that just kind of keeps popping up. But I'm more now training for all around just with like health. Like I want to be healthy. I want to be able to move. I want to be strong. I want to be able to do any like physical challenge that I want to try to take on. So like if I wanted to try to do a powerlifting competition, then I'm in a decent enough spot to start to train for that, right? Or I want to do an Olympic weightlifting competition, I'm in a decent enough spot to start to commit to that. Or I want to run a triathlon, I'm in a decent enough spot to start to commit to that. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And that's a big shift from where I was before, where I just wanted to be like as strong as I could be. And I would just go in the gym and I would bench press and bench press and bench press.
So, something I wanted to kind of like get your thoughts on, because we have a bit of like a different type of training. I just, based off the circumstances of, where I'm at, I mostly work out on my own. And that's kind of, I think that might change, but been mostly by myself, and I don't mind that. It's fine. I like it. But I'm curious, because you seem to thrive in like the environment that you're in at Movement Strength, which is a great gym and like an awesome community. So I'm wondering, like, if maybe you can touch on what you think is beneficial about being in a community like Movement Strength for your training goals. Yeah, shout out Movement Strength. But
that's a good question, because I'm kind of like you in a way. Like, I like to train alone at times. Like I think it's like it's a good time for me to just be with myself, train, do my thing. But I also really enjoy being in like the class and community environment. And I think what I've started to realize, and again, I feel like when you're always training with someone else, whether they're better than you or they're same level, it pushes you, right? So like I think there's that idea of like having someone there to push you to be better is really good. And that whether you're training for like a competition or whether you're just training in everyday life to be healthy or lose weight. So I think that's a good thing to have. But I think for like the general population, at least of what I've seen at Movement Strength, because we have a lot of new people come in that are maybe new to fitness or newer to, let's just say, like strength and conditioning type training, having that community is great, because there's a lot of other people that are going through the same thing as they are, in terms of being new, introducing, they're on their journey of health and fitness, and to kind of go through that with other people and see them, thrive, or see them have the struggles that they have, or to be able to communicate and be like, hey, I'm at this point in my journey and I'm really struggling here with like my diet and getting on track with like this. How did you manage it? and then you have that advice, or like, there's a lot of that going on. And I think what we do such a good job at Movement Strength is facilitating that. And when you have that community, it's super powerful, especially for people who are maybe newer to fitness and are starting to get into it. But it's also super powerful for people who have been training for a while, and maybe they weren't in such a good environment, and now they're in this environment where everyone's kind of on the same page. Everyone wants everyone to do better. There's some healthy competition. Like, as humans, we're all seeking that, I think, in some way. And I think that's where it can become super, super beneficial for people.
Yeah, totally. Even just like having people have an outside perspective on your training is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when we were at Prehab 101, Dr. Jacob Harden's course.
Yeah.
We were kind of like doing some squats as part of the course, and we were trying to attach a rating of perceived exertion to it. And I did a couple squats, and I felt like they were super hard. And then Monica Harden actually was like, yo, that's like not even close to your max. And I just didn't realize, because I wasn't getting that feedback. I'm not necessarily videoing myself every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually flipped. That was huge for me as like a barrier to realize like I could be pushing a weight a lot higher. And I made a big jump at that point in time. So it's cool, like having people around you that can kind of maybe realize you probably could push yourself a little bit harder.
For sure. And that's the cool thing as a coach that I get to see at the gym is like, we do a lot of the stuff where we bring people in on like a 6-week type challenge, right? And then they kind of transition into memberships. And like, it's amazing, man, to see the transformation, not only in like, let's just say weight loss, but like movement quality and like ability to start to do some of these things. Like you start with someone on day one that's never hip hinged in their life, and you start to teach them how to hip hinge. And then like 2-3 months later, their hinge, like watching them pick up a bar from the ground, like just a deadlift, whether it be a kettlebell, whether it be a trap bar, whether it be a normal deadlift, you're just like, it's awesome to see that transformation. And like when people start to realize it, and like as a coach, I really try to like make people recognize like, how far they've come from like the start to where they are now. Like when people start to recognize that, they're like, oh shit, like that's great. Like, I was barely able to do a hip hinge with like, let's say a PVC pipe or just without anything. And now here I am like hip hinging and picking up weight, or doing a swing. And like, it's super powerful for people to do that, to see that and like to reinforce it. So it's like another point on top of like having that feedback from people.
Yeah. Or else you might not really know,
No. You might just be like me and just not wondering if you're ever getting better.
Well, I was going to ask you. Go
ahead. Ask me what.
Yeah, because we had been talking about kind of like some things that you've been working on, which I think is interesting because you've always been on the spectrum of like, shall I say, stiffer mans.
Yeah, bro. So okay, don't crush me too much here. Yeah, I would say like I'm not the most nimble guy in the world, but like my mobility isn't that bad. But
on a scale of like Gumby to like Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, you're probably more towards that side of the spectrum.
towards Gumby, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, yeah, we can talk about that, and that's kind of what I wanted to transition there next too. Is so to your point, like mobility is something I would say again, like I was never horrible at, but it was never something that I would say that was great, and I think I got comfortable with where I was at with my mobility in the sense like I was doing everything that I wanted to do. Like I could squat, I could deadlift, I could do all the workouts. But I was always known that I wasn't, let's just say, as quote unquote mobile as other people. And I knew that it could probably help me potentially be in better positions maybe, or be stronger, or just have better freedom of movement for life if I was a little more mobile. But I kind of got this fixed mindset around like, you know what, I'm good. Like I'm doing everything that I want to do. Why do I need to be more mobile? And then, you know, I've had a hip injury that I've been dealing with, you know, for a while. It's been on and off, you know, good times, bad times, whatnot. And I've taken different approaches to it. And I kind of sat down with myself and I was like, you know what, let's just try this program. I have like a really good friend, and I would call him somewhat of a mentor. Will Hogendorn, he's a coach at Movement Strength, and he's very big into mobility and human movement and progressive loaded stretching. And so he made a program for me, and I was like, you know what, let's commit to this. Let's ride it out and let's see what can happen with it. Like, what do I have to lose? You know, see if it helps my hip on top of like the strength training that I'm doing in guess you can call it rehab. I wouldn't call it rehab. I would just call it training that I'm doing currently. And I've seen really great benefits from it. I feel better. My hip feels better. I've been going at the program now I'm halfway through my second block of the program. And it's intense, man. Like it's no joke. Like I'm doing 4 sessions a week. Takes me about an hour to get through the sessions. And it's not your mobility like let's just static stretch or let's roll on a foam roller. Like it's also opened my eyes as a rehab professional to like this idea of strength through movement, or like gaining control of end range movement and being in positions that are challenging and working through them is important. And that for stretching, you also need to progressively overload yourself to get better, and not just rolling on a foam roller or not just doing one static stretch at the end of a session is going to make you better. And so I've been committed to that. And again, like I said, I've seen some good benefits, and now I'm at that point where I'm like, all right, I'm excited to continue on with it to see where I could go with it. Because the cool part is, you like any type of training, and I'm sure you can attest to this, you start to see improvements both objectively and subjectively. So I'm feeling better, but objectively, like I'm progressing and getting farther in my stretches. I'm able to load more into the stretches that I'm doing. And it's cool to see that progress. So that's kind of where the bulk of my training is at right now, because it takes me so damn long to get through the session.
That's cool. It's interesting. Do you think a lot of the benefits that you get from that are just the idea that you're putting the attention there, you know, and you're putting your body into these like difficult positions to be in, and it's very focused. You're really feeling and connecting with your body in a way that maybe you haven't.
100%. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And the thing is, man, is like this, it's called stretching, but bro, it is not stretching. Like I am working hard, man. Like you're loading the hip. Like something that I really struggle with is like end range flexion and external rotation is something that gives me a lot of discomfort. And so like we've been gradually working into that range of motion by doing like different, and maybe I'll post like some of the exercises that I'm doing to like give people an idea, but like we're doing exercises like an active pigeon. We're doing the classic, like kind of like a shin box. Will calls it a different name, but like a shin box where you're kind of coming up and you're controlling down. And like we've been progressively like loading, like how much through range I go, like how much load I have through my body. We're doing like a diagonal stretch, which is like the worst. I hate it, but like I'm starting to get much better at it. So like these stretches are challenging. It is like training. Like I'm sore. Like I am sore, which is another thing that I realized is like, just like anything, it's all about dosing, and like you have to dose this stuff appropriately as well. So it's been a cool learning experience for me. One of the big things though, I would say, and this goes for any training, this goes for really anything, is like if you want to see progress, and this is where I struggled before, is like, if you want to see progress, you have to commit to it and you have to follow through with the program over a long period of time. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to do this program for 1 week, one time a week. No, you gotta, if you want to change, you got to commit to it. You got to do the 4 sessions a week. And I'm going into my third week of my second 6-week block. So going on total of 12 weeks, like, and we're going to keep going. Like, it's a long period of time that you have to commit to something. And I started to reinforce that whole idea of like, things take time. It's going to be hard and you have to commit to it. And one of the cool quotes that Will told me, not you tell cool quotes, but the other Will, he said, you have to commit to the program even when it's not fruitful. And like, I've really learned that on this training that I've been going through, because to be quite honest with you, and Will, I love you, but like, I don't enjoy it that much. Like, I'm going through it and I'm just like, man, this sucks. Like, I would so much rather be like deadlifting and squatting right now and like doing something else. But it's been good. It's been challenging and it's helped me. And so I'm like, you know what? Today, I don't really want to do this at all. Like, I don't want to do it, but I know that I need to do it if I want to get to the end goal, which will actually help me be able to do maybe deadlifting and squatting and all that other stuff that I want more consistently.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really insightful quote, because I think that there's really something to just committing to something you're not totally into or that's hard, and overcoming it. You know, like those days you don't feel like going in and training and you do, those days end up being the best ones. You feel great and you feel good about yourself that you've gone in and you've overcome something that day. So I feel like that's huge. You know, it's got to be hard. It's got to be consistent. That's like, yeah, if you live by that motto, you can't really go wrong no matter what training you are engaging with.
Yeah. And even if you go in and you don't want to do it and you do it and it sucks and you still don't feel good, at least you did it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that whole thing, again, staying committed to it, even though you don't want to do it, is something that is good for us, man, as humans, bro. And it's the same thing with, we can translate it into physio. It's like, you know, you're going to come to physio and you're going to be working and you're going to be doing this program. And there's going to be days where you're not going to be better. It's going to suck. You're not going to want to do it, but you need to come and do it and get through it and try to figure out how we can go forward and make this better. So like, I think it's a great overall just thought process for everything. The one thing that makes it easier to commit to that program is when you actually have that program aligned. And that's something I've started to realize too. And I've always known this, but like, it's easy to just be like, okay, I'm just going to go in and do this. But if you have like a plan, a program set out that, you know, okay, like I'm going to go into the gym, I'm going to squat 5x5 at 600 pounds. And then I'm going to walk out, then you know what to expect. Right. Whereas if you don't, then it's easy for you to be like, I'm good, bro. I'm just going to do a couple bicep curls. We'll squat tomorrow. Right.
Totally. I'm right with you.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit. What has like committing to powerlifting or just exercise in general, training in general, done for you in like as a person in your life? Like,
it's made me stronger, Dalton.
That's all that matters, bro. You can't go wrong with getting strong. Or can you?
Well, let's not go there. Training's done a lot for me, especially like powerlifting. It's given me a lot of purpose, you know, like just with my weeks, and you know, I still feel like when you have those down weeks, it's nice to get to the gym and accomplish something, you know, and push yourself. And I think you become a more resilient human as a result. and it extends beyond the gym. So that's where like I've really realized, how hard I can push myself, and then I can kind of, I can kind of achieve what I want to if I put my mind to it. So I think that's what I've gotten from powerlifting, man. And it's just been a way to really meet different people and to invest myself in a situation where I'm going to be learning more about training. And it's motivated me to try to learn the most that I can in those areas, So that's benefited me from not only my own training, but also with helping other people with their training, and from a standpoint of my physiotherapy professional career, recognizing the value of those sorts of ideas and principles within my practice.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's great. Like, I don't even want to talk about what I want to say, because like I want to leave it there. Like that was dope. But of course, my big mouth, I'm gonna obviously say something.
You just can't help yourself, Dalton.
I'm on my second cup of coffee, bro. Come on, give me a break. No, I agree 100% with that parallel to life. Like that's the one thing that I think training over time has taught me, and kind of going through like a weight loss journey that I've gone through, is like the work in the gym, it doesn't lie, right? The work that you put in is what you're going to get out of it. And when you start to realize that like you can put the work in, you can start from one place and get to a place that you never thought you could get to, by being consistent over time and not giving up and going through waves. It's never linear. You're always going through waves of like feeling really good to feeling really shitty to feeling really good to feeling really shitty. But eventually, if you stay consistent, you're gonna get to that spot. Like you really will. And even if it takes a long time, or even if your trajectory changes, you're still getting benefits from being consistent, and you're learning and you're gaining skills, and hopefully physically you're starting to change. And I think that's the most powerful thing for me. And I've got to experience that. And now watching and being able to help other people experience it is awesome, because watching someone go from, let's just say, not at an ideal weight that they want to be at, not feeling good about themselves, not feeling happy at times, to like a transformation to where like they feel empowered to do things they've never done before. They feel way better. They're having better relationships with their family. They're stronger. They're more confident in everyday life. Is like, it's amazing. And it's as simple as committing to like an exercise and like nutrition plan. Man, it's amazing to watch. And that's why I think me and you are so passionate about it, is like we've kind of both been through it in our own ways, and to see how it's changed our lives, to then have other people change their lives by learning from us and committing to those things. It's crazy. It's awesome. And at times when this profession becomes challenging and you get frustrated and you get down, it's humbling and it's rewarding. And it reminds me of why we're doing what we're doing, when you see things, or even when we have a conversation about this kind of stuff. So
yeah, which I'm looking forward to having more of these kind of conversations about, just branching from physio a little bit and talking a little bit more about training. I think there's going to be some cool podcasts we're going to be able to do more from that lens. For the people that are listening in, they stuck around to the end of the podcast.
Respect.
You get to get in on this little secret. I've been training my mom for the last 3 months and going on. So I think we're going to try to get her on the podcast.
Even if we have to secretly record her without her knowing.
Even if we have to secretly record her.
Against her consent. Against her consent.
And so we'll shed some light, hopefully, on like what that experience has been like. And for her too, to hear from her perspective, how it's changed her mindset in the gym and in with her life. So I'm really pumped to do that at some point. And I think there's going to be some other awesome kind of opportunities for us to get in some cool topics.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped. Mama Nicholson, just deadlift PRs, bro. Unreal. Oh, man. All right, let's wrap it up there before I say something else too crazy. I had fun with
Before you
this.
get your third coffee.
Yeah, I had fun with this one though, man. This was good. I'm excited to get this one out. Guys, thanks as always for tuning in, listening, supporting us. Like we really do appreciate it. This podcast is so fun for us. We love it. We want to continue to build the community around it. We want to hear from you guys. So if you want to reach out to us, hit us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at the MVMTPTs. Instagram's probably your best bet to reach us. We're there most often. If you want to email us, you can email us themovementpts@gmail.com. If you like this episode or any one of our other episodes, please head over to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a review. We want to read your review on the episode. We want to continue to spread the word about how you guys enjoy this podcast so other people can hop on the train. So if you can do that, we'd really appreciate it. And lastly, if you want a bag of that good coffee, head over to our Instagram, click the link in our bio. Takes you to our website. You can get a fresh bag of the original blend. It's delicious. It's crushable. Oh, I just love it so much. You guys should try a bag. And yeah, I'm done. I'm done, bro. I'm too high on caffeine right now.
Stay strong. Stay caffeinated, people.
All right. We love you guys. Peace.